Okay, for this next one, I'm actually going to add a couple space switches on a few items. You can add whatever space switches you're looking for. Like if you want to go to the world or set to the spine or set to anything, this is the way that you will go about setting up a space switch. Okay, so I'm actually going to switch this back over to IK on the arms. And so with both arms selected, or both IK controls arms selected, what I want to do is add a couple attributes. So I'm going to add a follow head control and also a follow root control as well. So what I want to do to add that is go to Modify, Add Attribute, and from here I will say follow head, and I'll just leave that at, actually this is going to be an on-off kind of switch, so what I want to do is just say minimum 0, maximum 1. Okay, and so we'll add that, and then we'll also add another follow, and this follow we will say root. So follow the root, and so we do minimum 0, maximum 1, and add. And so both of these controls now have follow head and follow root. Okay, so to first add these switches, what we want to do is add basically a group node in between the 0 and the left-hand control, and to do that you would just select the object, and we'll just say Control G to add a new group, and from here what I will say is left hand IK, and then I'll just name this space. That's basically just saying it's a space control. Okay, so now with that space controller, what we want to do is actually select the, we're going to select the root, and we'll select the head, and then we will select our IK space that we actually just made. And so we'll select, okay, so hold on. First we'll select the root, shift select the head, and then control shift the left hand IK space. Nope, that's not what. So if I'm selecting the root, the head, and then the space node, why is that not staying selected? So head, that, so root, head, and then the left IK space. Alright, so we'll select the root first, then control click the left hand space and say constrain, and we just want to go with a parent on that one. And I leave the so now if we actually go to this and we actually connect, all we need to do is connect these. So if we go to the left hand IK control and go to General Editors, Connection Editor, scroll down to the bottom, look for follow root, and then we will select the space node, or the space group node that we just made, reload that, and we will look for the connection on that. root control. So actually, it'll be under the parent. Actually, yes, we want the parent constraint. So parent constraint, and then we'll go to reload right, and now we'll just select that. So we're just making that follow root and the parent constraint of the space. And if we close that, if we set this to 1, and now if we move this root, that hand is going to follow. Okay, so that's just basically space switching. So you'll see that that hand is following that node. Okay, so with that in mind, we want to add the head to that one as well. So we'll select the head, then we will go to, actually I'm going to just close this so this stays a little cleaner. So we'll go to this, so the space, okay, so we're going to select the head, then the space, and we'll say constrain parent. So that actually adds a new to the head. So we should have a root and a head to the parent constraint. Okay, so now we just go to our controller and we can turn off the follow root, and we can actually go and do the same thing we just did. So we'll go to General Editors, Connection Editor, and then we will scroll down to the bottom and say follow head, and then we will go to the parent constraint of that left-hand IK space parent constraint and reload the right. We'll scroll down to the bottom and select head. Okay, close that, and now if we say follow head and we select this head and just, so now we got anything that we rotate our head, his hand is going to follow. His IK hand will follow. Okay, so with that, that's set up on this way. So what you will usually use that for was, say you put your hand, I'm just rotating his hand around here and just bringing basically his hand up to his face, and I'm going to bring his elbow. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell with just the rotation currently, but if I set that now to follow head, you'll see that if I make any, right, so his hand is basically staying pinned to his face. So right now I'm just Control Z all the way back to have his hand back in place. Okay, so that's now zeroed out. So for this one, we just want to actually go head here, and then, first things first, we want to go to that hand and just add a extra group node in there and say right hand IK underscore space. You can cap it or not. It doesn't really matter, as long as you're constraining. Okay, so we're going to select the head and the root and then the space. See, now that one's letting me do, yeah, that's really strange. Okay, anyway, so what we want to do is say constrain parent, and so that basically places the head and the root, and all we need to do is select the IK hand and go to Windows, General Editors, Connection Editor. I believe I have a shortcut for, I do, so yes, so CE. To actually make one of those, to make a shelf button for that, if you actually just go to Windows, General Editors, and say you want it to be the connection editor, if you hold down Control Shift and then you select that, it'll actually make a new shelf button. The only thing that you need to do is remember to save all shelves. Okay, once you do that, I don't really need this one, so I can actually just pretty much delete it because I already have one right here. So with that, we'll bring up the Arc Connection Editor. We'll scroll down. We do want the parent constraint, so we'll reload to the right of that. And if we scroll down to the bottom here, this makes it really easy. We'll just select head, head, and root, root. Okay? So with that one, now we have follow head and follow root. So if I select the root now and I move that, his hand is going to basically stay with the root. Okay, so I'm going to go back to here and set those both to 0. And this one, actually, I do want to add a follow hand on these. So with this one, I'm going to go to Modify, Add Attribute, and from here I will say follow hand. Okay, and then just leave everything at, or actually we'll go minimum 0, maximum 1, and add. Okay, and then from here, so we'll select these two guys right here, well, one at a time. So with the arm pull vectors, so this first one we will just create a group node, and so this one will be called left arm pull vector space, and we'll select the right arm pull vector and Control G, and this one will be called right arm PV space. Okay, so with this one we'll select the pull vector so first off we'll select the hand, okay, the left IK hand, which is what we want following, and then we will select the left arm PV space, and then we'll say constrain parent. Okay, and then this one we will select the right IK hand and then select the right arm PV space and say constrain parent. And from here we can go to back to our PV controller and go to bring up our connection editor, and we will just scroll down to the bottom, follow hand, and right arm space. We want to select the parent constraint, reload right, scroll all the way to the bottom and say right hand. So this is what we're following, is the right hand IK control. Okay, and for this one we want to select the left and reload left, and then we want the pull, let's see, where's the left? Yes, left arm IK, left arm pull vector space parent constraint, reload the right, and so follow hand left. Okay, so if we select this and say follow hand, once we move our hand, our elbow is going to stay with our hand. Okay, so you can leave that follow hand on, but then you can also still make those adjustments here as well. Okay, if you want to animate the hand. So with that, we're going to turn these, well, that one's, I do like to double check and make sure that those connections were made. So if I go to follow hand, set it to 1, select the hand, no, that IK or the pull vector is going to actually follow the hand. Okay, looking good. Okay, so next one I'm going to put on the head, and from here I'm going to say add attribute, and I'm going to say follow world. I'm going to leave that all caps and say minimum 0, maximum 1, and add, and then close this. And actually we'll also make a couple here too to have them follow the feet. And so to follow these feet, we'll just actually modify, add attribute. And so this one we will call follow foot. And min 0, max 1, add, close that. And so these ones we want to actually add group nodes. So the left leg pull vector control, we're going to group, and so we'll name this left leg pull vector space. And the right leg pull vector control, we'll say group and double click and then say right leg pull vector underscore space. Okay, then these guys, so what we want to do is actually select the left foot and then the left leg PV space by holding down control and saying constrain parent, and then select the right foot IK control, select right leg pull vector space and constrain parent. Okay, and then from here we can just make those one other thing. We need to go to the head. Okay, so just make sure our head control, and then we're going to, actually I'm just going to double click that and set Control C to copy, and then I'll say Control G to add a new group, and then I'm going to say Control V, and then I'm going to just backspace and say space. So head space. So we'll select the world node because that's what we want the head to follow, and we'll go to head space, and then we will say constrain parent. Okay, so now what we need to do is go to the head control and go to our connection editor, and then we want to go to our head space parent constraint, which is going to be underneath this head space in our outliner, so head space parent constraint, and we'll reload right, scroll down to the bottom from follow world, and we'll say world on that node. Okay, and then for these other ones we just need to go to our pull vector, and I'm just hitting F in the outliner, and so with this we want this to follow the foot, so we want to select the right, so reload left, okay, just to make sure we have right leg PV underscore control. That's what we want. And then we want the right leg PV space parent constraint in the here. So we'll say follow foot, and what are we following? Right foot IK control. So we'll just make that connection, and from here we'll select the left, and then we'll reload left, and then we also want to grab the left leg space parent constraint, reload on the right hand side, and so our output is going to be our follow foot, which is what we set up, and then we want to follow the left foot IK controller. Okay, so from here we can close these and just do a double check, set that to 1, and now should follow exactly how we want it to. Okay, perfect. And also just check the head. So now when we select this and rotate the head, let's see, let's follow world. Something got messed up here. Just need to figure out what's going on here. Head space, parent constraint to the world control, which should be wanting to look at the world. So if I turn this off, just undoing. Alright, so just got that head control. Actually, I'm going to delete that parent constraint. And so I'm just kind of looking through here real quickly. So head control. So the world. All right, that should be right. So if I want that head to follow, oh, you know why? Is because I can't do a parent constraint. It's going to, I want this to be an orient constraint. Okay, so with this, I will select the head again, or actually I'll select the world first, and then select the head space, and then I will say constrain orient. Okay, and just to make sure that I have maintain offset, yep, and that should be good. And so now when we go to the head and follow world, we're going to set to 0. It doesn't, even if we set it to 1 or 0, this isn't going to matter. We'll go to our connection editor and then go to our headspace orient constraint and reload and just follow world, and we'll say world close. So now if we set this to 1 and we make any rotation, the head is going to stay in world. So you see how that head basically stays in head. The rotation is still staying locked with the world orient. So you can do, you know, fun stuff by keeping that head still. Okay, I'm just going to hit Control S to save, and that should, all of our space constraints should be okay for now. That's pretty much all I will probably use if I do use space controls. But to add the space controls, that's how you do it.